This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Scorching across the states. Heatwave breaks records and challenges cities from Death Valley to Atlanta. A record-breaking heatwave, described as extremely dangerous, has gripped a significant portion of the United States. Temperatures have soared to a staggering 122 degrees Fahrenheit in California's Death Valley, while other regions in the western and southern states have faced soaring heat indexes surpassing 100 degrees. The heat wave has broken daily temperature records in multiple locations, prompting urgent warnings from the National Weather Service. Cities such as Sacramento, Bakersfield, and Los Angeles have experienced unprecedented highs, with forecasts indicating that the scorching conditions may persist. In the southern states, places like Birmingham, Atlanta, and Shreveport are also enduring oppressive heat. The dangerous temperatures have led to increased heat advisories and warnings, particularly affecting vulnerable populations such as the elderly, children, and outdoor workers. In areas like Las Vegas and the Mojave Desert, residents are advised to take extreme precautions to avoid heat-related illnesses. Emergency services have been on high alert, and public cooling centers have been established in several cities. Northern California is additionally facing compounded challenges with wildfire risks, as seen with the Thompson Fire affecting parts of Oroville. Though meteorologists anticipate no immediate relief from the searing temperatures, there is a concerted public appeal for preventive measures to mitigate health risks and other heat-related dangers. The intense heat wave serves as a stark reminder of the increasingly frequent extreme weather events impacting the nation. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Lower East Side tragedy. Drunk driving counselor causes fatal crash at Corlear's Hook Park. In a tragic incident on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, a suspected drunk driver plowed into Corlear's Hook Park, killing 3 individuals and injuring 7 others. The driver, identified as Daniel Christopher Hayden, a substance abuse counselor and author of The Sober Addict, lost control of a speeding pickup truck, crashing into a crowd of people celebrating the 4th of July. The accident occurred in broad daylight, causing widespread panic and chaos in the busy park. The victims have been identified as Daniel Hayden, Lucille Pinckney, and Ernon Pinckney. Eyewitnesses described the horrifying moment when the truck barreled through the park, leaving a trail of destruction. Emergency responders quickly arrived at the scene, providing immediate medical attention and transporting the injured to nearby hospitals. NYPD Chief of Patrol John Chell confirmed that the driver has been charged with drunk driving. This incident has raised further concerns about driving under the influence and its devastating impact on communities. The investigation is ongoing, with authorities examining the circumstances that led to this avoidable tragedy, as the community mourns the loss of life and prays for the recovery of the injured. This event serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of impaired driving and the importance of responsible behavior behind the wheel. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Plague alert in Pueblo County. Health officials respond to rare case. A human case of the plague has been identified in Pueblo County, Colorado. Health officials are investigating the incident to determine how the person contracted the infection. The plague, a deadly bacterial disease known for its historical outbreaks in Europe during the Middle Ages, remains rare in the United States today. The infected individual is receiving appropriate medical care, and efforts are underway to trace any potential sources of exposure. To prevent further cases, health authorities have issued a public health advisory, urging residents to take precautions against flea bites and avoid contact with rodents or wildlife that could carry the bacteria. These measures include using insect repellent, avoiding sick or dead animals, and ensuring pets are also protected from fleas. While the occurrence of plague in humans is uncommon, the presence of the bacteria in local rodent populations indicates a potential ongoing risk. Public health efforts are focused on containing the spread and preventing further cases. Community members are encouraged to stay informed and follow guidance from health authorities to ensure their safety. In conclusion, the identification of a human plague case in Pueblo County is a significant health alert, reminding the community of the importance of vigilance and preventive measures against infectious diseases. The Department of Health continues to monitor the situation closely, prioritizing public safety and disease control. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Diddy under fire. Adria English sues for sex trafficking, RICO violations, and assault. Sean Diddy Combs faces new allegations of sex trafficking and sexual assault in a lawsuit filed by Adria English, a former adult film actress. The lawsuit, which spans 114 pages, accuses Combs of involvement in a RICO enterprise, sexual harassment, and sex trafficking. English claims she was coerced into intimate activities with guests, including renowned jeweler Jacob the Jeweler Arabo, at Combs' exclusive white parties in New York and Florida. The lawsuit also accuses Combs of threatening to blacklist English and her then-partner from their respective industries if she did not comply with his demands. English eventually relocated to California in 2009 to escape Combs' influence. This marks the 9th lawsuit alleging sexual misconduct against Combs since last November, following a legal action by his former partner Cassie Ventura. Combs' legal representative, Jonathan Davis, has denied the allegations, stating that Combs has never sexually assaulted or sex trafficked anyone, and emphasizing the importance of a fair legal process to uncover the truth. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024, Philadelphia tragedy. July 4th mass shooting leaves 1 dead, 8 injured including teens. A mass shooting in Philadelphia on July 4th left 1 person dead and 8 others injured, including teenagers. The incident occurred near 60th Street and King Sessing Avenue in southwest Philadelphia. Authorities reported that the gunman fired into a crowd, causing chaos and sending people fleeing for safety. Among the injured were 4 juveniles, highlighting the tragic impact on young individuals in the community. Responding to the scene, police found multiple victims and immediately initiated an investigation. The wounded were transported to various hospitals, including Penn Presbyterian Medical Center, the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, and the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Police have yet to disclose the motive behind the shooting and continue to gather information. Community leaders are calling for increased efforts to curb gun violence in the area. This incident comes as part of a disturbing trend of increased gun violence in several major cities during the extended July 4th weekend. In the aftermath, local authorities are urging anyone with information to come forward to assist in the investigation. The community remains in shock as they grapple with the latest incidents of mass violence and await further updates from law enforcement. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Bird flu alert. A new human case in Colorado and ongoing U.S. response efforts. The United States has reported its 4th case of bird flu in humans, specifically involving a Colorado dairy worker. This case highlights the ongoing avian influenza outbreak affecting dairy cattle. Since March, 3 other human cases of bird flu have been confirmed in the U.S. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention noted that the affected individual has been in close contact with poultry, which remains a significant risk factor for transmission of the virus. Health officials are closely monitoring the situation, focusing on preventing further spread, especially within the agricultural sector. In response to this latest case, there have been efforts to expand vaccine availability and enhance biosecurity measures on farms. The U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Food and Drug Administration are actively involved in these efforts. As the situation continues to evolve, public health authorities emphasize the importance of vigilance among farmers and those in close contact with birds. The ongoing outbreak underscores the need for robust disease surveillance and prompt response actions to minimize human infections and protect public health. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Caribbean crisis. Hurricane Beryl's wake from Jamaica to Texas. Hurricane Beryl has left a significant impact on the Caribbean, particularly in Jamaica, where hundreds of thousands of homes are without power. The storm brought heavy rain and strong winds, causing extensive flooding and downed trees. Emergency services are working to restore power and clear debris from major roadways to ensure the safety and mobility of the population. The hurricane has also resulted in temporary displacement for several families, with emergency shelters filling to capacity. In addition to the power outages, Hurricane Beryl has caused significant damage to infrastructure, complicating recovery efforts across the island. The storm has been downgraded to a Category 2, but its impact has been substantial, with at least 11 deaths reported across the Caribbean. Efforts are also now in full swing to bring life back to normalcy for those that have already been affected. The storm surge and high winds from Hurricane Beryl are now expected to affect parts of Texas and northeastern Mexico over the weekend. Mexican authorities have issued a red alert, advising residents to remain in their homes or seek refuge in storm shelters. The storm's aftermath is expected to bring further challenges, including the potential for flash flooding and mudslides. As the storm continues to move through the region, residents are bracing for its impact, and authorities are working to mitigate the damage. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024, Andy Murray's tearful Wimbledon farewell. An era ends with emotional tributes and legacy highlights. Andy Murray bid an emotional farewell to Wimbledon, marking the end of a remarkable era in tennis. The three-time Grand Slam champion was visibly moved to tears during a touching ceremony on center court, featuring a retrospective of his illustrious career on the colossal screens. Murray acknowledged the physical challenges that prompted his retirement decision, despite his deep-seated passion for the sport. Amidst a backdrop of emotional tributes including a standing ovation from iconic figures like Novak Djokovic and Martina Navratilova, Murray's family, including his daughters, stood by to witness this heartfelt moment. The tennis star expressed gratitude to his parents for supporting his dreams, and to his wife Kim for her unwavering backing. Throughout the years, Wimbledon spectators have embraced Murray, from his teenage debut in 2005 to his evolution as one of the world's top players alongside tennis luminaries like Federer and Djokovic. Despite setbacks due to injuries, Murray's legacy at Wimbledon is etched in history. From his emotional loss to Federer in 2012 to his triumphant moments at the Olympic Games and the U.S. Open, his 2013 Wimbledon victory marked a historic milestone, ending Britain's 77-year wait for men's singles. Although setbacks hindered his singles participation at this final Wimbledon appearance, Murray's decision to compete in doubles alongside his brother was met with a valiant effort despite the defeat. Looking ahead, Murray is set to grace center court once more for mixed doubles, underscoring his enduring love for the game in the face of physical challenges. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. California wildfires rage on. Cal Fire battles blazes amid heatwave havoc. California wildfires have led to the evacuation of nearly 30,000 residents as multiple blazes continue to ravage the state. Exacerbated by a scorching heatwave, these fires are moving rapidly, threatening communities and overwhelming firefighting resources. The Thompson Fire has resulted in the cancellation of 4th of July festivities in Oroville, illustrating the widespread impact of these uncontrolled blazes. As fires edge closer to popular tourist destinations, emergency services are working tirelessly to contain the outbreaks and protect lives and property. Governors and local authorities are urging residents in affected areas to heed evacuation orders promptly. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, also known as CAL FIRE, is coordinating extensive firefighting operations. Equipment and personnel are being mobilized from neighboring states to assist in battling the infernos. The National Weather Service warns that conditions may worsen with the ongoing heat and wind patterns, making containment efforts increasingly challenging. The impact of the wildfires extends beyond immediate danger, with the risk of air quality deteriorating and long-term environmental damage. As the state braces for prolonged fire season, discussions around climate change and preventive measures are gaining momentum. Efforts to mitigate future risks through better land management and increased fire preparedness continue to be areas of focus for state officials and communities alike. The situation remains fluid, with updates on containment and evacuation status being closely monitored. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Wisconsin Supreme Court reignites ballot Dropbox debate ahead of 2024 election. The Wisconsin Supreme Court has overturned a previous ruling that barred most ballot Dropboxes, significantly impacting the upcoming 2024 presidential election. The decision, spearheaded by the court's newly liberal majority, reinstates the use of absentee ballot Dropboxes across the state. This move reverses the restrictions imposed last year that had limited voters' options for returning absentee ballots. The court's ruling aligns with broader efforts to increase voter access and participation. Supporters argue that Dropboxes provide a secure and convenient method for voters to submit ballots, particularly benefiting those who may face challenges in voting in person. Opponents, however, believe the expanded use of Dropboxes could lead to potential security concerns. This decision by the Wisconsin Supreme Court is expected to have significant implications for voter turnout and the administration of the election. As Wisconsin is a crucial swing state, the ruling could play a pivotal role in determining the outcome of future elections, including the highly anticipated 2024 presidential race. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Hayden Springer joins elite sub-60 club at John Deere Classic. Leading PGA Tour trend, Hayden Springer etched his name into PGA Tour history by carding a score of 59 in the first round of the John Deere Classic. This remarkable achievement marks him as the 14th golfer to break the 60 barrier in PGA Tour history. Springer's exceptional round included an eagle and a string of birdies, culminating in a 12-under par finish. His performance placed him 4 strokes ahead of Harry Hall and 5 strokes ahead of Kevin Chappell and Hayden Buckley. This achievement adds to a recent trend of golfers breaking the 60 barrier, with Cameron Young and Paul Goydos achieving this milestone in recent years. The global golfing community has witnessed 8 sub-60 rounds this year, including Cristobal del Solar's remarkable 57 in a Corn Ferry Tour event in Colombia. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Fatal shootout at Yellowstone. Suspect dead in gunfight with rangers. A suspect armed with a firearm died after a shootout with park rangers at Yellowstone National Park. The incident occurred at Canyon Village in the central part of the park after authorities received a tip about an individual making menacing remarks. When rangers engaged with the suspect, a gunfight erupted, resulting in the suspect's death. The identity of the deceased has not been disclosed. During the confrontation, one law enforcement ranger was injured and hospitalized but is in stable condition. The FBI is leading the investigation into the incident with assistance from the National Park Service. The area around Canyon Lodge remains closed due to the ongoing investigation, but there are no active threats to the public. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Shark alerts on the 4th. Multiple injuries at Texas and Florida beaches. 4 people were injured in shark attacks on the 4th of July in Texas and Florida. In Texas, 4 separate incidents occurred at South Padre Island, leading to hospitalization for 1 victim. In another incident, a 15-year-old boy suffered a shark bite while swimming in Tampa Bay, Florida. The 4th of July holiday typically draws a large number of beachgoers, increasing the likelihood of human-shark encounters. Despite these incidents, experts stress that shark attacks remain rare and encourage beachgoers to be vigilant. Local authorities in both states have issued safety guidelines for swimmers. This holiday weekend's shark activity underscores the importance of awareness when visiting coastal areas. The victims are expected to recover fully from their injuries. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Biden's future uncertain. Kamala Harris eyes presidential seat. Dems rally behind potential leaders as President Joe Biden's re-election bid faces increasing skepticism. Some Democrats are looking towards Vice President Kamala Harris as a potential successor. Discussions within the party highlight Harris' growing support and increasing visibility, with her role in the administration preparing her for a seamless transition if Biden decides to step down. Key Democratic figures are rallying behind Harris, citing her leadership capabilities and electoral appeal. Other names are also being floated as possible candidates for the vice presidential slot if Harris moves up, including North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, California Representative Nanette Barragán, and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. The party's strategic thinkers emphasize the need for a strong and dynamic ticket heading into the 2024 elections to counteract Republican contenders. Financially, questions remain about Biden's campaign funds if he exits the race. It's expected that Harris would gain control and redirect these resources to bolster her campaign. Political analysts suggest that a Harris-led ticket could inject fresh energy into the campaign, aiding in the effort to retain the White House. In conclusion, as the Democratic Party navigates these uncertain waters, Kamala Harris is emerging as a pivotal figure. Her candidacy is seen by many within the party not just as a contingency plan, but as a viable and perhaps necessary path forward. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Eye risk with Ozempic and Wegovy, unveiling a connection to vision loss. Recent studies have linked the popular weight loss and diabetes drugs Ozempic and Wegovy to a rare but serious eye condition called non-arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy, NAION. This condition can cause sudden vision loss and potentially lead to blindness. Researchers at Mass General Brigham found that patients prescribed semaglutide, the active ingredient in Ozempic and Wegovy, had a higher incidence of NAION compared to those using alternative medications. While the study does not conclusively prove that semaglutide causes NAION, it highlights a concerning trend that patients taking these drugs may face an elevated risk of experiencing this vision-threatening condition. NAION occurs when blood flow to the optic nerve is reduced, causing sudden vision loss. The condition is rare, affecting 2 to 10 individuals per 100,000, and is the second most common cause of blindness from optic nerve damage following glaucoma. Individuals with high blood pressure or diabetes are at an increased risk of developing NAION. Dr. Joseph Rizzo, a neuro-ophthalmology expert, emphasized the significance of this study, noting that it is the first to draw a connection between these diabetes and weight loss medications and NAION. However, he underscored that more evidence is necessary to establish a causal relationship between semaglutide and the condition. Novo Nordisk, the manufacturer of Ozempic and Wegovy, responded to the study findings by emphasizing their commitment to patient safety and highlighting that NAION is not listed as a known side effect on the medication's FDA-approved labels. The study analyzed the medical records of around 17,000 patients with diabetes or obesity over a 6-year period and found that a greater number of patients on semaglutide developed NAION compared to individuals using alternative diabetes or weight loss medications. While the study's findings are significant, it is important to note that the research was based on data from a specific medical practice in the Boston area, which may limit the generalizability of the results to the broader population. Doctors emphasized that the benefits of these medications in managing diabetes and weight loss should not be overlooked, but patients should be aware of this potential risk. Further research is essential to fully understand the risks and mechanisms behind this association, ensuring informed decisions in the use of these widely prescribed treatments. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Boeing Starliner's extended ISS stay. Delays in safety tests with NASA Boeing Starliner spacecraft, currently docked at the International Space Station, ISS, faces delays due to thruster tests that could take weeks to complete. These tests are crucial for ensuring the spacecraft's reliability and safety before it can bring the astronauts back home. NASA officials have emphasized that the crew on board the ISS is not in immediate danger and are continuing their mission tasks as planned. The delay comes as a result of technical evaluations of the Starliner's thrusters, which are essential for the capsule's controlled descent and safe landing. The thrusters have undergone extensive testing, but the current set of evaluations will ensure no overlooked issues compromise the mission. The Boeing team is working closely with NASA to expedite the process while maintaining stringent safety protocols. The astronauts were originally scheduled to return to Earth soon, but will now remain on the ISS until the thruster issues are resolved. This unforeseen delay has prompted NASA to review and extend mission timelines to accommodate the additional testing period. The space agency assures that this extended stay will not impact the astronauts' health or the overall mission objectives. In conclusion, while the extended testing period may be seen as a setback, it underscores Boeing and NASA's commitment to safety and the successful return of the astronauts. The aerospace community continues to monitor the situation closely, awaiting the completion of the necessary tests and the safe return of the crew. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Eruptive chaos in Sicily. Mount Etna and Stromboli disrupt flights and dust Catania. Mount Etna and Stromboli, two of Italy's most active volcanoes, have erupted, causing significant disruptions on the Mediterranean island of Sicily. The eruptions have led to the closure of Catania Airport, with flights suspended due to heavy ashfall. The National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology reported that ash plumes reached as high as 4.5 kilometers into the sky. The intense activity at Mount Etna has been ongoing for several days, with lava fountains and ash clouds illuminating the night sky near Catania. Meanwhile, Stromboli, located off the northern coast of Sicily, has been spewing lava into the sea. The Civil Protection Department has issued a red alert for Stromboli, warning of a potential deterioration in the situation. Residents and authorities are working to clean up the city, which has been covered in thick layers of black ash. The airport is expected to reopen at 3 p.m. local time, but travelers are advised to check the status of their flights before heading to the airport. The eruptions have caused significant disruption to travel in the region, with flights diverted or cancelled. Mount Etna, standing at 3,324 meters, is one of the world's most active volcanoes, having erupted multiple times in recent decades. Stromboli, at 920 meters, is known for its nearly constant activity. The situation remains volatile, with authorities closely monitoring the volcano's activity. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Bertoletti triumphs at Nathan's hot dog contest. Pseudo sets new record. Patrick Bertoletti has emerged victorious in the men's division of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, consuming 58 hot dogs and buns in the 10-minute competition. This marks a significant shift in the men's division, as Bertoletti dethroned the long-standing winner Joey Chestnut, who had won the title 16 times previously. Chestnut was absent from this year's competition, announcing his absence via social media. On the women's front, Miki Sudo retained her crown as the top female competitive eater, setting a new record by eating 51 hot dogs and buns. This surpasses her previous record of 50 hot dogs. The event, held at Coney Island, witnessed Bertoletti's unexpected victory and Sudo's impressive display of hot dog eating prowess. Bertoletti attributed his success to months of dedicated practice and seizing the opportunity presented by Chestnut's absence. Chestnut instead participated in the Pop Goes the Fort event in El Paso, Texas, where he faced off against soldiers in a thrilling 5-minute challenge. The competition saw a mix of surprises and familiar faces in the world of competitive eating, with Bertoletti and Sudo emerging as the new champions. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Strategic retreat. Ukraine withdraws from Chasiv Yar. Amid intense Russian assaults, Ukraine's army has retreated from key positions in the strategically important town of Chasiv Yar, located in the eastern Donetsk region. This move comes as Russian forces intensify their efforts to gain control of the town, which serves as a gateway to other key cities like Bakhmut, Kramatorsk, and Sloviansk. The retreat is part of a larger pattern of withdrawals by Ukrainian forces amid sustained Russian artillery strikes and ground assaults. The intense battle for Chasiv Yar underscores the strategic importance of the town, which has been devastated by months of relentless Russian artillery strikes. Ukrainian military commanders have acknowledged the tactical retreat, emphasizing the need to preserve forces and regroup for future operations. The decision aligns with what some analysts describe as a scorched earth strategy, aimed at delaying Russian advances and inflicting maximum attrition on enemy forces. Russian forces have been employing extensive artillery bombardments and ground assaults to break through Ukrainian defenses. As the conflict continues, the situation in Chasiv Yar will be closely monitored, given its implications for the broader strategic landscape in eastern Ukraine. The retreat marks a critical juncture in the ongoing conflict, with the outcome likely to influence future military operations and the broader geopolitical dynamics in the region. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Sunak resigns after historic election loss. Future leadership under Labour's Keir Starmer. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has resigned following a historic election defeat. In his farewell speech, Sunak emphasized the importance of kindness, decency, and tolerance, urging his supporters and the nation to uphold these values. He accepted full responsibility for the Conservative Party's poor performance at the polls. Sunak's departure marks the end of a tumultuous tenure, during which he faced numerous challenges both domestically and internationally. Despite his efforts to stabilize the economy and improve relations with the EU, his government was plagued by scandals and controversies. He highlighted his achievements, including stabilizing inflation, lowering mortgage rates, and bolstering the UK's global reputation. The Labour Party, led by Keir Starmer, is expected to take the reins following this election result. Sunak's call for unity and decency might serve as a guiding principle for the incoming administration. His exit marks a notable shift in UK politics, as the country navigates its future under new leadership. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Thrilling triumph. Argentina outlasts Ecuador in penalties, advances to Copa America semifinals. Argentina has advanced to the semifinals of the Copa America after a thrilling penalty shootout against Ecuador. The match, held in Houston, Texas, ended 1-1 after regular time, with Lisandro Martinez scoring for Argentina and Kevin Rodriguez equalizing for Ecuador in injury time. The game went directly to penalties, where Lionel Messi's initial attempt, a Panenka shot, struck the top of the crossbar. However, goalkeeper Emiliano Dibu Martins proved to be the hero, saving 2 penalties and enabling Argentina to convert their next 4 spot kicks and secure a 4-2 victory. Martins, known for his proficiency in penalty shootouts, has faced 24 penalties while representing Argentina, conceding only 12 and making 9 remarkable saves. He emphasized his dedication to training, mentioning that he practices diving 500 times in each session. Argentina now awaits the winner of the upcoming quarterfinal between Venezuela and Canada in the semi-finals. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Hurricane Beryl hits Mexico. Devastation in Cancán, Tulum, and Cozumel. Hurricane Beryl has made landfall in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, bringing significant devastation to the region. The storm, classified as a Category 2 hurricane, has caused widespread evacuations and endangered up to 2 million residents. Key areas affected include the popular tourist destinations of Cancán and Tulum, as well as the island of Cozumel. Local authorities, along with the Red Cross, are working tirelessly to provide relief and ensure the safety of those impacted. Reports indicate that hundreds of homes have been destroyed and thousands of residents are without power. The U.S. National Hurricane Center has warned of potential further impacts as the storm moves inland. Emergency services are prioritizing rescue operations and the establishment of temporary shelters. Residents have been advised to stay indoors and avoid travel, while tourists in the region are being assisted in evacuation procedures. The situation remains fluid as authorities continue to assess the full extent of the damage caused by Hurricane Beryl. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. EU imposes up to 38% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. NIO and others face new challenges. The European Union has imposed tariffs of up to 38% on electric vehicles imported from China. This move is in response to concerns over market distortions caused by state subsidies provided to Chinese manufacturers. The European Commission argues that these subsidies give Chinese companies an unfair competitive advantage in the European market. Consequently, the tariffs aim to level the playing field for European automakers, who are also investing heavily in electric vehicle technology. The tariffs, ranging from 17.4% to 37.6%, are in addition to the existing 10% duty on all Chinese electric cars imported into the EU. This increase is attributed to what the EU perceives as unfair subsidization in China, allowing Chinese electric vehicles to be sold at lower prices than those manufactured within the EU. Chinese electric vehicle brands, including major players like NIO, have expressed concerns about the impact of these tariffs on their operations in Europe. NIO has indicated that it may have to raise prices to absorb the additional costs, which could dampen demand for their vehicles. In response, China has urged the European Union to take negotiations seriously and work towards a more collaborative solution. The decision has sparked a considerable debate on international trade practices and the future of the electric vehicle market. Industry experts are closely monitoring how these tariffs will affect both the supply chain and consumer prices in Europe. The long-term implications for global trade relations between Europe and China remain to be seen, as both sides navigate this contentious issue. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Iran presidential runoff. Jalili versus Pezeshkian in a decisive duel. Iran is holding a runoff presidential election between hardliner Saeed Jalili and reformist Masoud Pezeshkian. This election follows a first round where Pezeshkian received slightly more votes than Jalili. Despite the low voter turnout, the election is seen as crucial for the country's political landscape. Critics argue that the election is not competitive, with both candidates being loyal to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The Guardian Council, which oversees the election, has been accused of limiting the field of candidates to ensure a loyalist wins. The outcome of this election will shape Iran's relations with Western powers and its stance on key issues like the nuclear program. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Biden battles back. High-stakes interviews and $50 million ad blitz as election tensions mount. President Joe Biden is set to embark on a media blitz over the weekend to counter growing concerns about his mental decline. This move follows a series of criticisms and concerns about his cognitive function, particularly after a recent disastrous debate performance. His media appearances include a high-profile interview with George Stephanopoulos on a major news network, which will be closely watched for any signs of faltering. Biden will also visit key battleground states like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, essential for the Democrats' White House aspirations. In addition to these public engagements, Biden's campaign is launching a $50 million advertising initiative to reach diverse audiences during significant events like the summer and the Republican convention. Despite attempts to counter the narrative of decline, doubts persist about Biden's candidacy. Some House Democrats have even called for him to step aside, underscoring the turmoil within the Democratic Party over his electability. Meanwhile, President Trump has largely refrained from commenting on Biden's challenges, a silence that hints at the internal strife facing the Democrats. The upcoming events and interviews will play a crucial role in shaping perceptions of his candidacy as the election season unfolds. Biden's team has orchestrated these appearances to demonstrate his mental acuity and ability to handle presidential responsibilities. Observers note that Biden's actions are reminiscent of tactics used by past presidents facing similar scrutiny. The outcome of this media strategy will likely play a significant role in shaping public opinion and influencing his campaign's trajectory moving forward. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Navigating change. Keir Starmer's path from lawyer to potential UK Prime Minister. Keir Starmer, a 61-year-old human rights lawyer and politician, is poised to become the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Born in Oxted, Surrey, Starmer hails from a modest working-class background, with his father being a toolmaker and his mother a nurse. This upbringing has deeply influenced his commitment to the National Health Service, NHS, and shaped his perspective on public service. Starmer's legal career spanned over 2 decades, during which he handled notable cases against major corporations and advised law enforcement in Northern Ireland following the Good Friday Agreement. He later transitioned into politics, becoming a member of Parliament in 2015 and assuming various roles within the Labour Party, including Shadow Immigration Minister and Shadow Secretary of State for exiting the European Union during the Brexit era. As the leader of the Labour Party since 2020, Starmer has strategically repositioned the party towards the centre of British politics, distancing himself from the socialist left wing previously led by Jeremy Corbyn. His vision for Britain includes addressing tax evasion, reducing NHS waiting times, bolstering the education sector, and enhancing police presence in communities. He also aims to renegotiate a more favourable deal with the European Union post-Brexit, acknowledging the economic fallout from the UK's departure. Starmer's leadership style is characterised by pragmatism and a focus on governance, signaling a shift towards stability and competence in government. His admiration for President Biden hints at a potentially robust U.S.-UK relationship, which could pave the way for a close alliance. Despite criticism for his perceived lack of charisma, Starmer's commitment to a return to political normalcy has resonated with a public weary of chaos and controversy. As the election results unfold, all indications point to Starmer assuming the role of Prime Minister, marking a significant shift in British leadership and signaling a new chapter in the country's trajectory. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Andrew Tate cleared for EU travel amid legal battle. A Romanian court update. Andrew Tate, a social media influencer, has been granted permission by a Romanian court to leave the country while awaiting trial on charges of human trafficking, rape and involvement in a criminal group exploiting women. This ruling allows Tate to travel within the European Union but does not permit him to leave the EU. Tate, 37, was arrested in December 2022 alongside his brother Tristan and 2 Romanian women. All 4 defendants have consistently denied the accusations against them. Tate expressed relief on social media, stating that he is now free to leave Romania after 3 years. His lawyer, Eugen Videniac, praised the court's decision, attributing it to the exemplary conduct and cooperation of the Tate brothers. The Bucharest tribunal had previously verified the prosecutor's case dossier, signaling the readiness for a trial to commence without specifying a set date. This development marks a significant progression in the legal proceedings, which have been ongoing since Tate's arrest. Despite the formal indictment by Romanian prosecutors in June last year, Tate remains resolute in vindicating his innocence and reputation. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. UK political landscape transforms. Labour's Keir Starmer forms cabinet with Rachel Reeves at Treasury. The UK has witnessed a significant political shift as Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party, begins forming his cabinet after a landslide victory in the general election. Starmer has appointed Rachel Reeves to the Treasury, marking the start of his economic strategy to address pressing national issues. The Labour Party's victory has ended the Conservative Party's prolonged tenure in power, marking a new era in British politics. Starmer has voiced his commitment to establishing a government of service aimed at national renewal. This movement follows Labour's comprehensive strategy to revitalise the economy and improve the social fabric of the nation, which has been strained by years of political instability, economic challenges, and the aftermath of Brexit. Starmer's administration faces the immediate task of managing the country's recovery from the economic impacts stemming from the pandemic. The new Prime Minister's early cabinet appointments are being closely scrutinized as indicators of his administration's priorities and policy directions. As Starmer steps into his role, the Labour Party's promises of reform and renewal are expected to dominate the UK political landscape, bringing about significant changes in governance and public policy. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Israel's West Bank expansion. Recognition and controversy over new settlements. Israel has officially recognized 3 previously illegal outposts in the West Bank and has approved the construction of 5,295 new homes in the area. This move by the Israeli government marks the largest land appropriation in the West Bank in decades, with 965 acres being designated as state property. The move has garnered significant criticism from rights groups and international observers who argue that it undermines the prospects for peace in the region. The Higher Planning Council sanctioned these expansions, which further entrenches Israeli presence in contested territories. The decision aligns with broader governmental efforts to solidify control over the West Bank, a move seen by many as de facto annexation. This escalation has heightened tensions between Israel and Palestine, complicating an already fragile relationship. The recognition of the outposts and the approval of new housing units have drawn attention globally, with many voices calling this a provocative step that could destabilize the region further. Critics argue that the expansion of settlements violates international law and hinders the possibility of a two-state solution. In conclusion, Israel's latest actions in the West Bank signify a significant shift in land policy, one that is likely to provoke further debate and tension both domestically and internationally. The ongoing developments will require close monitoring as the situation evolves. This is the news for today, Friday the 5th of July 2024. Nigel Farage secures historic seat for Reform UK in UK Parliament. A shift in right-wing politics. Nigel Farage, the leader of the right-wing Reform UK party, has made history by winning a seat in the UK Parliament for the first time. This significant victory marks a milestone for the party, which secured 4 seats in total. Farage's win in the Clacton constituency, where he garnered 46.2% of the vote, underscores Reform UK's success in areas that strongly supported Brexit. His party capitalized on criticizing the Conservative Party's handling of migration issues, resonating with socially conservative voters, and causing a split in the right-wing electorate. This led to Conservative losses and contributed to Reform UK's robust performance, securing 14.4% of the vote. Farage's long-standing advocacy for Britain's exit from the European Union has cemented his reputation as a disruptive force in the country's political landscape. His recent rhetoric on issues like asylum seekers and international conflicts has stirred controversy, adding to his polarizing image in British politics. Following his electoral success, Farage expressed his commitment to addressing the perceived gap in the center-right political spectrum and vowed to challenge the upcoming general election more vigorously in 2029. With a newfound parliamentary platform, Reform UK aims to challenge the leadership of Labour's Keir Starmer and intensify its focus on targeting Labour voters across the UK. This victory comes amidst a broader trend of right-wing populism gaining momentum in Europe, as seen in recent elections across the continent. Farage's disruptive presence during the campaign hampered the Conservative Party's attempts to attract socially conservative, pro-Brexit voters, signaling a potential realignment within the right-wing political landscape.